win on the men's side. The team event came down to the 4x4 there, and we were edged out by Texas. So we ended up finishing second on the men's side. And so good, lots of good stuff out of that meet. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the historic effort of our men's DMR. You know, for those guys to go out there and set the collegiate record in that event says a lot about what Coach Thomas is doing with our men's distance program, and those guys, a lot of the belief and buy-in that they have in him and being able to get it done, because the people that they beat, those are legends in the sport of track and field. They have comprised former collegiate records in the NCAA. So kudos to those guys, and couldn't be happier for them and their coach. As far as that is concerned, we have we're looking to add to our 13 top 20 NCAA marks this weekend in Albuquerque. The sprinters and jumpers and throwers will go, and then the distance guys there in Seattle. So looking forward to that this upcoming weekend and see what we get.
Speaking of that DMR team, all those guys still need to get qualified in their individual events. Is that something you anticipate is going to happen this weekend, and do you need that to happen this weekend so the MPSF doesn't come around and you're still looking for qualifiers?
You know, I would take it last week. The sooner the better, but of course that is the plan, for them to go up there and get qualified in some individual events as well.
Looking at how Cooper competed this past weekend, I mean, what's he just been able to bring? I know coming into the cross-country season, he was saying, the summer off had really helped him a lot. I mean, do you get the sense that just he's maybe a little more fresh even at this point in the season than he's been?
I think he's a little more seasoned. You know, he's starting to become one of the senior members on our team, and you can kind of see that in not only his times and his races, but his leadership as well. And so he's a calming influence on some of those guys, and that's always good to have. And more so than anything, you're just seeing him staying healthy and being able to put in a number of miles. You know, the more of those that he can do, the better off he's going to end up being.
The way they were training as a coach, did you see that coming, that kind of effort?
I would have never guessed that fast, that early. Like we had talked a lot about, is the Arkansas meet too early to get the DMR qualified? And of course, if you look at our history, we've kind of always used that first team trip to get that that event is specifically qualified, because oftentimes we don't get to go as a full group to one site.
You mentioned at UW a lot of your newcomers were competing in some off events, and that this was going to be the weekend to really properly evaluate them. What did you kind of see?
Yeah, well, if you look, we got Rotolo, you got Ben Milligan. A lot of those guys were able to get season best. I want to say there was 39 personal bests there at Arkansas. So definitely good things for the Ducks.
Your triple jumpers, your long jumpers performed really well 2 weeks ago. What have you been seeing out of them in practice and in training that kind of give you confidence that something like that was going to happen?
Just the ability to learn. That's one of the more technical events that we have in track and field. Some of those jumps, triple jump being especially, but what Lexi Ellis was able to do, what Isaiah was able to do, what Kason Pendergrass was able to do, speaks volumes. And so have to continue to learn, because the older you get, the better you get, and some of those things are timing and age related questions, and so for them to be able to do it at such a young age bodes well for their future.
The way you guys were able to compete against some of the top teams in the nation 2 weeks ago, how does that help your confidence just going into the rest of the season, and maybe it gave your athletes a sense of where they stood in the nation?
Yeah, it's kind of still early. We'll see how it goes this weekend at the two sites that we're going to compete at. But I think we're headed in the right direction. I think we have a long ways to go, but definitely a step in the right direction.
It can be hard to compare year over year, but do you feel better about where you're at right now than you have in a couple years?
I don't necessarily know if I'd go that far or not. Once again, you heard me at the very beginning talk about our youth. And so no telling when that's going to rear its ugly head. And so maybe a little too soon to say we're in a better stage or better position than we were in years past.
Do Athletes like Max and Pierce and Matilde, do they have? Are you expecting them or hoping that they will qualify in individual events as well for the NCAAs?
Well, Matilde definitely has qualified in the individual event. The plan was for Max to do the same thing. Some unfortunate events there that didn't allow that to happen. So we'll definitely be looking at trying to make another attempt for him there at MPSF. You know, he'll go and work on some individual events this weekend, but then we'll have another shot at it there at the MPSF.
Anything else, guys?
Let me one last thing that I mentioned there in the recap. As you guys know, that some historic is also happening over there across the way at Hayward Field. You guys were able to see the top piece, the crown, basically, of the tower there, and so we're really excited about that because that's going to definitely mark the legacy and the history of what we're trying to do there with Hayward Field, and basically honor more so than anything, because Hayward Field has been such a special place for a long time now. And the people that they chose to put up there on the tower, you know, we couldn't be more proud and such pillars of our program. So definitely continue to keep your eyes peeled as that thing continues to come together. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Coach.